Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information on the Patria Wealth Group or to schedule your complimentary consultation, visit patriawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
You know, I'll talk about 401ks here because a lot of adults don't know exactly how much in fees that they're paying in their 401k. I want you to hear this clip from financial strategist Tony Robbins, who told CBS this morning that half of Americans don't even think there's any fees at all.
A 1% in fee, because of the compounding over time, costs you 10 years of retirement income. The average person thinks they're paying less than 1% or nothing, and they're paying 3.1%. That's 30 years of fees. So I'll give you an example. If you have a 35-year-old person, they have $100,000, and they put it in the market, and they let it compound for 30 years till they're going to retire, and they're paying 1% in fees, they have $761,000, which is nice growth from that time. But if you paid 3% in fees for the same stocks, you have $432,000. So in other words, you have 76% more money if you have less fees, or in the other view, you have 19 years less income.
All I heard was fees, George.
Yep.
So when you take a look at a portfolio review in a 401k, how quickly can you find those fees that could be damaging our plan?
Well, you know, Mark, nothing is written in English, right? Everything's hidden through. And we see statements every day. We go through them with our customers because they need to know what they have and to make the proper recommendations for them. And we sit there and you tear it apart. It's hidden, but we find them. And the fees that people pay are astronomical. And I understand it has to be a cost for some things. I understand that in certain regards. But we just said it's over a 10-year period, it's $764 compared to $439. That's a lot of money for nothing, that no work they're doing. And we sit there and we show you that in black and white because the paperwork's in gray. They don't want you to know the truth. They want to hide it from you. And they want you to not know. So we sit there and show you because I want you to be made aware. Because when you come in and sit down with myself and the team here at Patria Wealth, the first thing we will always say is, I need to educate you on what you have. And that is what our meetings are when you come in, Mark. So when you give us a call, 302-330-2166, we're going to schedule your appointment to come in, and we're going to educate you on what you currently have, where it's going, and how we're going to get there. But it all starts with that first phone call. And when talking about those 401k and the fees associated there, Mark, you have to think about this other thing. How many people, I know you and I have spoken about this, have had an old job, and they changed positions and jobs, and they went away from ABC company to XYZ.
Yeah.
What'd you do with that 401k you left behind?
No, I'm guilty. I left it.
Yeah, because they tell me to. They say, keep it here. We'll manage it for you. We just said how the fees are 3.1. Those old 401ks have higher fees as a rule because the company does not have a vested interest in your best well-being. I tell people all the time, if I'm not good enough to work for company XYZ, why in the heck should the XYZ have my money? That's something you take in your move, and you have control, because that's a word we need to have control over our future. But it starts by making that phone call and seeing what you have.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people, Mark, come in and I say, okay, so you worked at this company for 15 years. Where'd you work before that? And I'm like, oh, I worked at name of business. I said, what's with your 401k, your 403b, your TSP, your IRA you had there? I don't know. I don't know where it's at. Folks, this is your money. These are your choices and your decisions. You cannot allow them to tell you what to do. You need to be made aware of it. Sit down with us. I'm going to show you the ideas we have. Get the plans because I want you to have control of your money because it's your money. And, you know, I always talk about this, Mark, and I don't know if it fits here or not, but we have to really manage our future. We have a really good opportunity right now in certain areas, and one of them is with the lower tax structure that's going on in the country. We are still underneath the Trump tax plan, which when you look at the numbers and run through the programs, it is really good, comparatively speaking, obviously. And we have this situation until 2026, January, is when that will go away. And Congress and Senate do not sign a new tax plan. Taxes will revert back to the Obama-era taxes,
now, I know you don't have a crystal ball.
No.
But do you think they're going to try to keep these taxes lower? Or, look, this is just my conspiracy thinking because it has the name Trump on top of it. I don't think the current administration is going to want to sign anything and give him credit for lower tax cuts.
Absolutely.
Or lower
correct.
tax rates. So do you think that in a couple of years, those will dissolve and we're going to go back to our Obama tax rates.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they say because you have to raise taxes on people. And this is a little bit of the history. I always wanted to be a history teacher. It's what I wanted to do and educate people. And I think now I'm not a history teacher, but I still educate people, Mark, when they come in. The taxes we have right now, proven that we've never had more monies coming into the Federal Reserve because of taxes. It increases the cash flow coming into the government with lower taxes. So when they're raising the taxes, it's really the government sitting there saying, look what we're doing for you. There's a new song that Mark and I talk about all the time. And they talk about these people in Washington dictating us how we're going to spend our money and taking our money. And this is another way. But we can't control that. But what we can control is how we can utilize the laws currently in place to benefit you and your family further on in life. Because when you sit down with me, we're going to go over part of the package I give you at no cost, no obligation is a tax plan because you need to know how to work it. And that starts with a phone call to 302-330-2166. We can schedule an appointment to come in. There's no cost, no obligation when you meet with me or my team, but we're going to give you the information you need. And with the tax plan, I want to sit there right now and maybe those old 401ks, let's start doing a gradual conversion of that traditional 401k to a Roth IRA. And the advantage is that we have to look how everything else goes, obviously, to gradually do that over the next couple of years to minimize your future taxes. You know, I am not a CPA. We have CPAs that work with the firm. But a CPA or your tax preparer's job is to reduce last year's tax burden as much as legally and morally acceptable. And they are very reactive to what has occurred. I am not reactive. We are proactive. We're looking at what's going on and planning for a better tomorrow because tomorrow is what we've worked so hard for over 30 or 40 years. So by doing a gradual conversion and making some of this traditional money in our IRA, our 401k, now going into a Roth IRA, I am reducing my future tax bill. I am reducing the government's ability to take my money. And maybe that's what we should talk about, Mark, about the difference in a traditional 401k IRA and a Roth IRA. Maybe people aren't real sure about that.
Yeah.
A traditional 401k, TSP, 403B, or IRA, any qualified account for retirement, the way it works, folks, is you get your salary, you get your income, and they take that contribution off the top. So you put in 5-10%, they take that money, they put it in there, and it grows over time. And when you start to use this money in retirement, the theory had always been that taxes will be lower because you're making less money in retirement, and the percent they're taking will be less. But they tax everything in that account. With the Roth account, and especially right now with this low tax structure, you pay the tax on the money now, and then they put it into the Roth. The beautiful thing is it grows over time. And when I take out my money, it's totally tax-free. That's the biggest plus about this. The second biggest plus is a traditional 401k or IRA, you must do something called required minimum distributions, RMDs. Now, they just increased this year to age 73. And age 73, that is when you must take money out of these accounts. A Roth doesn't have that because there's no tax owed on it. So this is still a way to do generational wealth. I can pass this money down to my grandchildren's grandchildren and not have to touch it if they don't need to. Whereas a traditional 401k, IRA, they have to start taking money out of these accounts because the government's never gotten paid. And guess what? Uncle Sam wants his Dougie.
Yeah.
And it starts by working that way. But it all starts with a plan. It all starts with having the education, having the information available, and knowing where we're going to go. Go to Patria Wealth, Patria Wealth.com or 302-330-2166. Schedule that no cost, no obligation meeting. Come into the office here. Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's talk. Let's see what your dreams are, your desires, and let's get you on the right course for retirement, folks.
What the world's come to, people like me, people like you.
Man, as soon as you mentioned Oliver Anthony, What a powerful song that is.
I know it's great about there's no politics involved.
Yeah.
It's not saying this group is good and that group's bad. Trump is bad or good, Biden's good or it doesn't, nothing about that. It's about how all of them don't care about us.
Amen.
There's a handful of people on both sides that are good people, I think, that truly do care. But the majority of them are just what's in it for me.
Yep. Power-hungry weirdos. Yep. That's what they are. Rich men north of Richmond, Oliver Anthony Music. Did you see the story that came out that they offered him like a $7 million contract? And he said no. Yeah. He goes, because if you give me that contract, I start putting out albums, I get tour buses, I start playing stadium shows, because that goes against everything I'm standing for.
Exactly right.
I started making music to help fight my depression. It's like he's making music for people right now. So he is a fascinating story, and I think one of the best comments I saw is somebody said when they first heard that song, they said, I don't know if I feel his pain or if he feels mine.
Is that a great line?
Oh.
Now, a few weeks back, he gave a concert in the town he's out of. And I think there's a total of 4,000 people in this town in North Carolina. And they had 300 seats, 300 spaces. They had 6,000 people come.
Good for him.
He opened up, and we all have our different beliefs in a supreme being. He started the session with a prayer.
Sure.
They said the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he sang. After the concert, he sat for 4 hours talking to everyone that was there, gave them autographs, shook their hands, and said, thank you for coming. That is what America is about.
That's right.
And we've forgotten too many of us have lost our ways. And I'm not saying I'm one of those people at times. Because I told you before, Mark, I was a terrible human being. I was a bad father, a bad husband. I was never home. I was working all the time. And you have to get refocused on your course of action. And this gentleman is doing a great job in helping us reevaluate what we're doing. And he talks from the heart.
And I hate how many people try to cut him down just because he wrote a song that doesn't go against the current narrative. So you know what, Oliver and Anthony, you do you, buddy.
Making us all proud.
I hope so. 302-330-2166, PatriaWealth.com. And as you mentioned earlier about money being passed down from generations to generation. So this is a great story because by the year 2045, baby boomer parents are expected to hand down, catch your breath here, $53 trillion in assets to millennials and Gen Zs. Boy, if you listen, you can hear the government just salivating. It's like, we got to get our hands on that. There was a new study from New York Life that is raising questions over whether the younger generation is really ready for what they're calling the great wealth transfer, with more than half saying they don't feel confidently prepared for this windfall of money coming. So when you work with families and you know that boomers are going to be passing money down, are you confident that these families are prepared and this next generation is prepared for this money that's coming to them?
Mark, remember you're a young man. And I can use in my experience that I was a young man. I was 17 years old and I went to college. And folks, I should not have been allowed to go to the mall by myself, let alone New York. 17, went to college. 18, I got a hand-me-down car. I got a 1977 Grand Prix Red from my sister Polly. And then I got Angie's car the next year. I didn't give a rat's backside about that damn car. I beat it. I abused it. Oil change? Really? I abused them because I had no vested interest in how I got that car. I didn't earn it. It was just handed to me. I think it's the same thing we're looking at these people, this great wealth transfer we're talking about. They've never prepared themselves for it. It's been too easy. I'm going to give you a check for X. What are you going to do with it? You're going to go crazy. That's why I think it's so important. When I talk with these clients that come in and they have this wealth that we're looking to pass on to our grandchildren, our children, I want to know your children. I want to meet them because they need to understand that we have to have a plan in place. Your parents, your grandparents worked extremely hard for this. They worked smart. They were intelligent. They took some risk, but not too much risk. And we get a plan together for them because I want you to be in a good place. Because think about this, Mark. You work so hard to make your daughter happy financially. Let's make sure she doesn't hurt herself. When I work with customers, and we have accounts, Leslie and I have accounts, annuity set up, that if we both pass away, it goes to Alex and Jared. And they are different as night and day. Not that one's good and one's bad, mind you. They're just different. Alex, for example, is going to be a father soon. If he has $1 in his pocket, he spends $2. Jared, as you met down again in Atlanta, if he has $1, opens his wallet, there's moths flying out. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're both great young men who I am truly blessed to have them as my sons. But our annuities are set up that we are protecting Alex and Jared from Alex and Jared. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing we need to do here. We need to protect our children that we're handing this wealth over to, $53 trillion estimated wealth in the next 20 years, so we can protect them from themselves. You need to have a plan, and that's what we're here to help you with. We're here to help you set up that plan. Maybe we put into a trust. Maybe we gradually disperse monies to them. But I want them to keep as much of that as humanly and legally possible in their pockets instead of giving it away, or more importantly, losing it and being unprepared for it. But that all starts, Mark, with that phone call. Give us a call at 302-330-2166. Let's schedule that appointment, or better yet, stop at the office. It's 501 Silverside Road in Wilmington, 19809. I'm in Suite 31. It's outdoor entrance. You can't miss us. Come in. There's no appointment necessary. Come in, meet the team here. Come meet Achilles, Jared, Angie, myself. Let's have a good cup of coffee, as my mother would say, and let's have a chat to sit and talk and see how we can be of assistance to you.
Investment advisory services are offered only through properly registered representatives of Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, which is not affiliated with Patria Wealth Group. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if George Politarhos is licensed in your state, please contact his office. George A. Politarhos is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through George A. Politarhos, NPN number 175000473.